starting today, if you think more with your heart than with your head, you're going to receive a lot of blessings in this period. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I am your host, Therese Tucker. It is so good to connect with you. And today, the day I'm recording, just happens to be the day that Mercury moves retrograde. Yay! Today is July 18th, so we're having Mercury moving into retrograde in the sign of Leo. Now, Leo is a sign that's connected to the heart. It rules the 5th house, which I call the fun house. And that is, it has to do with creativity, it has to do with entertainment, it has to do with romance, with kids. So everything in there that sort of lights up your heart and make things feel fun. And when Mercury, the sign of the mind, moves into Leo, then we're already igniting what inspires us to create, inspires us to entertain or have fun or be romantic, inspires us to bring out our inner child. Now, when a planet goes retrograde, it means it's internalizing that energy. It's doing a review. So anywhere that you're looking to spark creativity or inspiration, you're going to need to look inside, and looking right into the heart is where the magic happens. Usually when we talk about a retrograde, especially a Mercury retrograde, we don't really think about it as a blessing. Most people think about Mercury retrograde as a period of minor to very flustering headaches. There's a lot of things that don't go through. Mercury is considered a malefic planet, which means it has sort of a negative effect, although I feel like it's back and forth. But when Mercury's in retrograde, we tend to see delays in communication, right? We miscommunicate, communications don't go through. A lot of times we have trouble with technology, and we rarely consider this a blessing. But there is a sign that this Mercury retrograde does have a blessing to it. So at the moment Mercury is making its retrograde, it has a sextile, a positive aspect with Venus. Venus is a planet that's considered a benefic, so it is a blessing. And we know when these two are in flow together, so when they're in sextile, they're working with each other. We know that there's going to be enhanced positive social interactions, the ability to really see the beauty around you and the beauty in your life, as well as a feeling of abundance. And so in this case, with this particular Mercury retrograde, we could see that a delay could be the blessing that you need for whatever area, specifically when it has to do with interactions with other people and with money. So anytime we're seeing delays right now, we can look at it as being a type of blessing, and the universe reflects that back to us. And not only that, Venus has some other strong activity happening in the month of August. So even though for 3 weeks we're going to be inside a Mercury retrograde, we will have activations from Venus happening, lightening the process all along the way, which is always good news. And with that, just on an energetic level, the Schumann resonance has had this huge white spike, means an influx of light and energy is coming into the planet. So if it's been a heavy period of time for you, as it has been for many, August seems like it could offer something like a type of a pleasant break. And that's what I'd like to manifest. That's what I'd like to see. So let's focus on that together. Interestingly enough, a key that comes in with Venus and Mercury together is a key about listening. And in this case, we want to listen to our heart. But we're also always listening to the thoughts that are playing in the back of our head, whether we're conscious or not. And the thoughts that are most common tend to be how we program our own brain, our reticular activating system. So the thoughts that we're repeating over and over again become part of the filter in our own mind, which filters what we will experience. So imagine all experience is available to you, but the only experience, the only data, the only events and things that you're going to be conscious of are those that match the filter you've created. I often teach this concept when I'm talking about telepathy. So I teach this on Insight Timer. It is free to join, by the way. So if you have the Insight Timer app and you'd like to join me for a telepathy practice class live on there. The link will be in the description below for you to join me. It is a great way to connect together and practice opening up your intuitive abilities. But when I'm teaching that class, one of the points that I make is, why do some people experience telepathy and other people don't? And believe it or not, a lot of it comes down to belief and value, and the thoughts that we're continuously thinking are actually forming the filter in our own mind, because our conscious mind cannot hold all the data around us. So it cannot hold everything you are witnessing in a space. It can't hold all the thoughts that you are thinking consciously. It can't hold all the moments that are happening to you at any given time. And so what happens is we need a filter so that we can follow a thread. If we were aware of everything going on, I don't know that we would be able to function. And so in order to function, we have reticular activating system, or the RAS. And what that does is it allows certain data to come into your conscious mind. All other data, you do receive it. You just are unconscious of it. It goes right into your subconscious mind. So the thoughts that we're thinking regularly, if we're really listening to ourselves, it's forming the filter in our mind. And that is what is dictating what we become conscious of and what we don't. So using telepathy as an example, if I believe in telepathy, if I understand how it functions, and I know that I have access to it, well, I have just programmed that into my filter. And so anytime I have a telepathic experience, whether it's an unconscious telepathic experience, meaning I didn't try to create it, or one I did try to create and I was successful, anytime I have those, it's going to get moved right into my conscious mind, because that is important data to me, the way I've built my filter. Now, everybody's having these moments, but if we're not programming our filter to accept it, it will be unconscious of those moments. And that's why some people are very open and they receive and are aware of those experiences, and some people are closed to it, and yet they're still having the experience. They're just unconscious of it. They're not consciously tracking it. So this comes back to the thoughts that we are continuously telling ourselves in the back of our mind. This is going to be a great period for listening to the thoughts that are happening sort of on a loop. You know, the tape you have in your mind that's playing in the background. And depending on how aware you've become of those thoughts, you're going to be able to really investigate and decide whether or not this is going to keep coming forward with you. If this gets to be part of your conscious creation of yourself, or if you want to regulate or transform those thoughts. This is a particularly strong period to do that in. What's really interesting is that these thoughts that we have that are less helpful, the ones that we need to get conscious of, they create our stress pattern in our body. But what's been done is there's been research done that shows that there are certain statements that have an effect on your neurology, literally helping to, in some cases, rewire your brain. And these are statements like my favorite one right now is, I am safe right now. That statement in and of itself, there's been peer-reviewed studies that show that that very statement will help to calm your amygdala, which is the fear center of your brain. And it'll help to move you back into parasympathetic response, which is our rest and digest mode. It's when we're relaxed. I am safe right now. That's a great statement to use. So one of the things that it's so interesting, because the way these things line up is always synchronicity. But during this window of time, I actually have created meditations on Insight Timer that use these neuroscience-based statements that are meant to rewire your brain. I'm creating meditations. They might already be available now on the platform. I have them in my free section, in the premium section, as well as a 7-day course I've created just for Insight Timer. So again, if you have the Insight Timer app, it's free to upload. There is the free option of the app when there's there's so much material on this app. I'm absolutely in love with it. There's just so much value there. And there's also the premium levels, which gives you even more access and deeper programs, gets you courses and things like that. They're not sponsoring me. I just really love them. I just really love the Insight Timer app, and I'm a teacher there, and I do spend a lot of time working with people on that app. So I just wanted to give it a shout out because I'm uploading new meditations and new tools which can be found exclusively on the Insight Timer app. And if you're feeling like you need help making a shift and you want to use these neuroscience-backed statements to help you go deeper, then I've got a tool for you already, and it's over on Insight Timer. All right, now let's get to the message from the team. I asked the team what is their message for this week, and I got the Queen of Swords reversed. So let me tell you a story about her. The Queen of Swords in her upright position is probably the fairest, most even-minded and even-tempered person. She has a lot of compassion in her heart for her past suffering and experiences that she's gone through. And she's probably, in her upright position, the most fair judge of character you could find. She would be the person that you want if you were going to court. You would want her to be your judge because of her fairness, her detachment, her ability to hear facts, and her compassion in her heart for all who stand before her. In her reverse position, which is how she's coming up now, what we're talking about here is the kind of thoughts that cut you down, right? Instead of becoming compassionate from her past negative experiences, her heart has hardened and she's become cold and efficient in looking for the flaws, right? She's looking to pick people apart, and she's sort of the off with your head queen in this position. So the reason I tell you this story about her is because this is about what our thoughts, if left unchecked, can do to us when we are going through a hard time. Unfortunately, one of the default modes that can happen is the pain and suffering can create a need to blame, but also this hawk-eye energy of looking for problems and looking for flaws, right? Because this state can get us very analytical. It can get us into our left hemisphere of our brain, which is not a heart-centered state. In order to have a connection from your heart to your mind, you need to be more right hemisphere. That's where the connection's really happening. Over here, it's all about facts, and facts do not care about your feelings. And in this state, what happens to us is if something's going wrong, or it doesn't feel good, or your experience is causing you to feel like you are suffering, then the eagle, the hawk eye, comes in and it wants to look for where's the weak link, where's the problem, and it starts finding it everywhere. See, the thing about it is nothing in our life is perfect or even or smooth, right? Life is variable. Sometimes things are working well, sometimes they're not. It's like there's never this sort of steady, like I fixed this area and it's good and done. It's not going to ever come unraveled. It's cyclical. It has its ups and it has its downs, which means that this hawk-eyed scanning the problems for impurities and problems, you're always going to find something. And it's a vicious cycle that takes you further and further and further in. So it's a hard one to come out of. And in the process, it's like the heart hardens because there is no perfection here to find. There's only levels of life, right? Levels of humanity. It's like sometimes we're doing well and sometimes we're not. So the message from the team here is to understand that during this period that we're going through, this Mercury retrograde, is not about this hawk-eyed scrutiny. In fact, it's more about stepping out of that mindset and watching it. Where am I being too hard on myself? Where am I being hypercritical? Where am I being judgmental? And how is it taking me out of my heart? And then once you can see it, once you can identify where you're just like, this is it too intense, right? You'll feel it. There's too much intensity. The vision has become too tunnel vision, too narrowed. When you find that place, the desire, hopefully at this time, will be, how do I soften here? And how do I get back to my heart? And that's really what we want to figure out, is where have I gone so hard that I've lost the joy? Where have I lost the ability to lighten up or even have fun or giggle about the situation? Where am I taking things so seriously that it feels like life or death? That this is our opportunity right now to look at these areas. And so the message here isn't really a condemnation or a criticism. It is to let you know, like, even she needs to be checked, right? Just because she's a queen, just because she's in a high position, she also needs to be checked. And this part of our mind that holds the judgment and criticism, it has a weird sense of superiority, like it knows best. And even that needs to be observed and checked. And at this time, we need to figure out how to soften so that we can turn this energy into something that is far more fair to yourself and others, and far more in alignment with compassion and understanding. And with that, let's look at the karma cards for this week. If you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what's the message you have for this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what is the guidance you need this week. Are you looking for action related guidance, outcome related guidance? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for July 18th through the 25th. I cannot believe we're at that point yet, but there you go. And the flavor of this reading, right? The first card we get is in the North Node. North Node is about what we desire to move to. So this is where we desire to go in the sign of Libra, which is all about our relationships and our connections. This is where Venus comes in. And then the 3rd house, which is about where we are expressing ourselves and communicating and learning. And this is where Mercury comes in. So even the Venus sextile Mercury shows up in the cards here. It's very cool. All right. So if you're looking for action, your spiritual action at this time is to have faith in relationships by making the right connections. Again, this reminds me of the message with the queen, right? So making the right connections would mean she's in her upright position where she's being fair and compassionate, rather than I gotta laser in on this problem and pick it apart and criticize and critique it. So first we want to make sure that we are in the right frame of mind before we look at the relationship. So we want to recognize, am I in that place right now where I'm looking to pick things apart? Because, even that place, there's an earnestness there. That place is about, this is a mess and I need to clean it up. So I'm looking for the things that need to be cleaned up. However, like I said, there can be a harshness and a lack of heart involved in that when we are too focused on problems. So the energy is like to have faith in relationship, make the right connection, be in the right state of mind before deeply looking at these relationships. Just come to it with balance, right? Compassion, detachment, and understanding, both for yourself and the other party. Mental action at this time, do not worry about the beauty of the idea in question. So that inverted queen, like she's worried about the messes too. Like everything's annoying to her. This is like growth is messy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about whatever it is you're trying to rebalance, to clear, to fix, to heal. We don't have to worry about like where it's at in this stage, right? So sometimes in the middle of a creation, we're making a huge mess. Sometimes in the middle of healing, it feels messier or a little grosser than when we get to the end. And so it's talking about, don't worry about that messy middle. right? Just continue to focus on that which you do desire to experience, understanding that part of getting from point A to point B, there's a messy middle. And this, again, this energy of hyperfixation on the problem, we'll get so distracted by how messy it is that we'll forget that we're trying to work on something or heal something. So understand that in the middle of a transition, there's always a little bit of a mess. Physical action at this time. Now is the time to do it with your partners and get your ideas going. This is the creative window. It's really interesting because it's causing us to internalize and create at the same time. And technically that's where creation starts, right? It's an internal inspiration. It's an internal aha. This is the thing I want, and then it comes out of us. Right now, it's like we get to sort of be in that creative zone in ourself more and do it externally. There's a little bit of both happening here, where there's more emphasis on what's going on inside and the creative process inside, but it also includes people around us. So it looks like we're all sort of like in the kitchen together making a mess, but we're making something beautiful at the same time. All right, now let's look for outcomes in the North Node in Libra in the third house of communication. All right, spiritual outcome at this time, there will be cooperation to perfect your ideas. So again, we've got this harmonious sextile happening, the blessing here of being willing to soften. And again, this isn't just, it's not just you, that everybody needs to soften up a little bit right now. As we do this, like as one of us softens, the other person can feel the permission to do it. So anytime we get messages like this, I always sort of point to, well, you're the one hearing it, so you're the instigator here. As you soften in your energy, as you're okay with the messy middle, it's like the other people around you go, whew, okay, you're right. Like, this is just temporary. This is a transitional state. Okay, let's focus more on what we're creating than trying to keep everything so perfect right now, because the perfection piece isn't going to be there, but the creativity and the inspiration to what you're moving to, it's definitely there. Mental outcome at this time, success from decisions about short-term thinking and trips. So when I hear this, I hear the decisions are about like, today is a new opportunity, as an example, right? So making a decision that today is going to be a good day. So it's talking about like the short term right now. What's your day going to be like? Are you waking up and going, something great's going to happen today? Are you waking up and bracing for something, right? So it's letting you know, like if you're starting out or whatever you're going into next, let's say you're going into a meeting, making a decision that this meeting's going to go really well and people want to work with you. These kinds of decisions right now, they percolate and they're successful. So watch what you're thinking about your next moment. As you wake up, notice, are you affirming that today's a good day, or are you sort of throwing the dice, right? Are you sending the signal out to the universe that I want to have a great day, or I want to have a great meeting, or I want to have a great conversation? Are we sending out those signals, or are we just kind of letting the chips fall where they may? We have more influence in these situations than sometimes we're aware of, and it's asking us to remember that right now. And you'll actually see like these small wins of like, yeah, this is a good experience. Physical outcome at this time, benefit resulting from the fairness shown by who and what is around you. Again, this is one of those statements of like, it's the people that you surround yourself with that are going to determine whether or not this works or not, right? So imagine being like deciding to come into a situation where you're going to be very positive, but you're going into a situation with negative people who won't go on that path with you. That might neutralize you. Okay, so the work scenario, like if you went into a conference, for example, you're coming in with a positive energy, and let's say they're there and they're in a negative mood. Are you going to be able to lift all of them up? No. Are they going to be able to take you down? Not really. What happens is, if your energy is the highest point, it's going to raise them up. They might not meet you, so you might not have that level of experience, but you'll have a better experience than if you were in a negative space, right? So the people around you, the more aligned they are, the more they're also consciously doing the same kind of work, where they're practicing softening and they're practicing being okay in the messy middle, right? And they're intending good things and new opportunities for themselves. The faster it goes when you're around that crowd. When you're around the crowd that's neutral, you actually improve their state. And when you're around a crowd that's sort of negative or feels like antithetic to what you want, then you sort of neutralize each other a little bit here. So just know that spending time around people who get it, I mean, it's always a benefit, but you really can sense the benefits of it right now. And with that, my friends, I'm wishing you an amazing Mercury retrograde. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm going to lean into it. There's blessings here. There's a lot of creativity here and an opportunity to embrace the mess, the creative mess, right? So as an artist, I can totally get down with that. And that's just what I'm going to picture. I'm like, oh, I'm just in a creation space. And wherever you are, where you accept the mess of the middle, whether it's in the kitchen, whether it's in a house project, whether it's in a workout routine, whatever the messy middle is that you can accept, take that acceptance from that space and apply it to just life right now. We're in a messy middle place, and it's okay. And actually, this is creativity beautifully at work right now. And if we can embrace that state, we naturally soften. We hang out in our heart more, and things start to feel a lot better. And with that, I am sending you so much love. Mwah.